Welcome to the Why Not Us podcast.
Well, boys, welcome back. Episode 9 of the Why Not Us podcast.
Yes,
Little
indeed.
cardiac Cougs this week. Take a deep
Yeah.
breath after that game.
Yes.
So we're coming to you on Monday, a little late pod this week after the game. But yeah, great win by the Cougs against Arizona on the road. Lightning delay, double overtime. Cardiac Cougs are back from last year, but good to get the dub overall.
Yes.
Amen.
I got to give a shout out to Houston as well. Homie literally just got off the plane like 10 minutes ago and is putting dedication. He hasn't even unpacked yet. We're doing dedication to the pod. So
Yeah,
thanks,
true.
Russ, for putting in the work.
Yes.
No, it's good. I'm glad to be here.
Got to get it done for rivalry week. We've got.
It's a big week. It's a big week.
one.
So
Big week.
the hate week has officially started for the Holy War. So let's recap a little bit Arizona. We didn't get to talk too much during the game, so I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on just overall. Now that we've had a chance to settle down, take a deep breath, have a few meals in between us.
It's tough because, to your point, like, we're still taking a deep breath from what we just went through, right? And you mentioned this last podcast, Houston. Like, we're in a pretty dangerous spot where there always seems to be an excuse for our lack of production. The excuses this week, they're justified, but they're still excuses. Or you had a weather delay. We're dealing with half of our defense, from what it feels like, with injuries. And so not entirely the outcome that we wanted. We feel like we should have handled Arizona a little better than what we did. But the positive side of that is we overcame with all of those things in place and still won against, in my opinion, a pretty solid mid-tier Big 12 team.
Yeah. No, I would agree with all that.
Yeah, I would say Arizona's a pretty good team. I mean, Jace, you hit a lot of the highlights. I mean, you come out and go up 14-0, have the ball, and then you go into weather delay for an hour and 20 minutes and come back out, and you really didn't get anything going again until 11 minutes to go in the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Arizona scores 24 straight points. It's some interesting calls in the game. That targeting call on Isaiah Glasker, which was not targeting, but still was roughing the passer, which I don't understand how you can have a roughing the passer when it wasn't targeting. The ball was still in the quarterback's hand when he hit him. Probably one of the worst calls I've ever seen in my life for roughing the passer. So, just little stuff like that adversity. All in all, you think about it. I mean, my goodness, you're down 10 points with 11 minutes to go. You methodically drive the ball down, takes 7 minutes, which I was a little nervous, but obviously they knew what they're doing. 3 and out, get the ball back, score with 19 seconds to go to tie it up. I mean, it was incredible last 10 minutes of the game.
Yeah, you couldn't have drawn
thoughts on the Keanu Tonavaso targeting, because you look at that one and it is targeting, in my opinion, with how he lowers his head. But with that said, when you're dealing with a 5'0" guy, you cannot penalize a guy who is literally almost a foot taller for not getting below the head on a tackle.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you, but this is 100% on Keanu. Terrible play. It's targeting. Yeah. He headbutted him. I mean, I don't know. I don't think there's any leg to stand on for Keanu. It's a terrible play. The ball's gone. Quarterback has nothing to do with the play. He decides to headbutt him, and I just think it's a terrible play. I'm pretty well disgusted with him the last couple games. Has not played well. Has not been a factor on the defensive line. I mean, I don't want to turn this into the Hate Keanu podcast, but, dude, I'm starting to see why Utah fans hate him. I'm not going to lie. He's kind of a punk. He's kind of arrogant, and he doesn't perform on the field. Compared to the rest of the defense, he's a non-factor. So to me, get him out.
I think I disagree a little bit, and here's why. I think his impact on the line is not from sacks. It's not from big explosive plays that are noticed by anybody. The homeboys double teamed every single play. like the
That's
offensive
fair.
line, they literally focus on him, which opens up the rest of the team. And he knew that it was going to be that way going into the season. And I specifically, after he got hurt during the weather delay, or not, didn't get hurt, after he got kicked out, and then during the weather delay, I went back and watched some of the stuff because I'm like, how bad are we going to miss this guy? And it is, I'm a firm believer that we missed him dearly for the rest of the game on getting pressure on Fafita. And it is because he was two-manned every single snap.
Yeah. No,
That's
I mean,
valid.
I'm a little disappointed too, but going back to the targeting, by definition of the rule, it was targeting, but I thought it was a weak call. I mean, the face mask kind of bounced off of there, but if you go definition of targeting, it definitely was targeting. And
Well, and there's no, my point is that why?
Why
There's
do
no
it? Yeah,
need.
same with hitting the guy on the ground
with
last
Isaiah.
week. Yes.
Yeah, with Isaiah's play, he's going for the ball. The quarterback has the ball. He's trying to make a football play. The one thing I will say on that, the only thing I can think of is that when they've called something a penalty on the field, they cannot reverse the penalty except if it's targeting. So if they've called a roughing the passer, they cannot go back on the call. You can't have a pass interference and then review it and take it off. So the only thing I can think of is they handcuffed themselves by calling it a roughing the passer. Still a bad call, but they don't have the option to turn it over besides the targeting. So
no,
I think reversing the targeting was, hey, we screwed up.
Yeah.
So,
well, yeah, to your point, the call was roughing the passer with targeting.
right.
If it was just a targeting call, they could have taken it away. But
Correct.
it's one of those you look at and you just like going, "Holy cow! What does a guy have to do?"
Yeah, he still has the ball in his hand.
He still has the ball in his
hand.
hand.
Rough a passer with the ball. Gave me attempting to deceive the defense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bad call. I mean, it's just a bad call overall.
Yeah.
And I want to get into more of the game a little bit. I mean, I love this, starting off hot and heavy here. But one other thing I got to say, anybody who claims that BYU got handed anything in that game is full of crap. Arizona was penalized 4 times for 28 yards. End of story. Refs did not help BYU at all.
None.
In fact, the phantom holding call, because apparently if someone falls to the ground and you push them to the ground, that's a holding call now. So
horrible.
Let's just get that out here right now. The refs did nobody any favors on both sides of the ball. It was a non-factor in the game.
Yeah.
You scored 24
touchdown, in my opinion.
Yeah, Chase's was a touchdown. You score 24 points unanswered and you go up by 10 in the fourth quarter with 10 minutes left. It's your fault that you lost the game.
Yeah.
End of story. Like that's just how it goes.
Yeah. No, I thought they could have called a pass interference on Chase Roberts on the one throw into the end zone that he was being grabbed and held. They didn't call anything. So to your point, I don't know how anybody can come. I thought we got hosed in that game by the officials, quite honestly. If anybody's saying that we got favors to win that game, there's no way that we got any calls in that game to win. I'm sorry. There was, and to
it's
your
unfortunate
point,
when those calls came, and that's why people are saying that is the timing that those calls came in. But it's literally you were caught, they reviewed them and it's blatant. You just don't commit the penalty. Like.
Yeah.
Well, and then, I mean, people are saying, well, the same thing happened in basketball with the foul to Richie Saunders at the end of the game. It's like, if those calls would have happened at any other time in the game, nobody would have thought twice about it.
Right.
It just happened to be at the crucial time in the game. So
I guess they must be referring to the holding call that brought back the touchdown that he literally had his jersey pulling off. Is that the one? Or which one are you talking about?
That's one, but they're also talking about the pass interferences that got us the extra downs near the goal line. Also, apparently there's a claim out there that they've filed something against the Big 12 refs that when we had that play where we fumbled, that the chain gang did not actually set the line of scrimmage where it should have been. They didn't catch up in time, and so they gave us an extra yard. So instead of 4th and inches, we got the first down based on where the chains were at.
I hadn't seen that one.
So the yellow line was a couple yards ahead of where the chains were, and they're claiming that's where it should have been, and blah blah blah.
Yeah. Well,
Anyway, on and on and
Yeah.
on. It would have been 4th and inches, and it's you got to stop us again anyway. So
Yeah.
that one to me is a non-issue. But anyway, to the game,
Yeah.
to the game itself. I thought we looked hot coming out the gate. I thought we looked
Yes.
great. Bear, another NFL type throw. I mean, Parker is running 20 miles an hour, and Bear puts the ball to where he doesn't even take a break in his stride.
Yeah.
And straight to the end zone. I thought that was amazing. The first drive of the game where we scored looked awesome. LJ was pounding the ball. Yeah, I don't know if the lightning delay made a difference. I mean, it gives a coach an extra chance to adjust. I mean, that also gives us a chance to adjust, but it sounds like that was not the philosophy during the break.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys heard that or not, but it sounds like BYU went back and kind of just kicked it and hung out until the game started.
Yeah. Well, I didn't hear anything either way, but I mean, you're up 14-0 and you're running all over Arizona. What adjustments are you going to make? I mean, I guess that's, you've gone out and you've handled your business. Arizona, in my opinion, should have been the team making adjustments because we were handing it to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's I remember texting. I think I texted you guys. I was like, I knew that killed our momentum. I'm a firm believer that if that rain delay doesn't happen, we win by 21 plus. Momentum was in our favor. We were looking really, really good, moving the ball at will. I did hear Houston that, like when they went into the locker room, BYU, they specifically didn't look at tablets. They specifically wanted to just kind of be present and chill and bond. And I don't know if that's worth saying that was a factor or not. Like it's just the time. Body tenses up, momentum goes away. I don't think there's anything you can do to stop that. Kudos to Arizona for coming out and freaking putting it to us after that. Because to Houston's point, both teams went through the same thing. So it's tough for us to say, because of the weather delay, that's why we struggled when Arizona experienced that same weather delay down 14, and they came back and thumped us for the next 2.5 quarters.
Yeah. Although I did see pictures of the team in the weather delay with the pads out looking at studying stuff. So, that they post those out on social media from the BYU football website that they were showing them in there. I didn't, a lot of things happened in that game. So, I mean, Arizona, the most rushing yards they had allowed all year, I think, was against Iowa State with 111. We ran for 260, focusing on some positive here. I mean, we ran the ball extremely well. I think there's a lot of things that kind of contributed to that slowdown. You have Raider Mooney that gets hurt. The Tanavasa gets kicked out. You just have some of those things that are kind of momentum breakers. And then sports is just momentum. And then Arizona capitalized. And once they got momentum, they took advantage of it. So, kudos to Arizona for taking advantage of the momentum when they got it.
When I say we were operating with half our defense, McKenzie was gone, Jack was gone, Tanavasa was out, Demooney got hurt. It sounds like he's going to be gone for a little bit with how he got hit. And so, we were literally operating with about half of our starters during this game. So I got to give some credit to them for still being able to pull it out and put it away at the end. Our corners are freaking insanely good.
Yeah, I will say that Moribamba came out and had an incredible second half, which he has not had all season. In fact, I remember specifically saying early on in the season that he did not look good. And this game was his time to shine. He looked amazing.
That was his best game by far. I mean, a couple of things that were kind of a little disappointing is number 15, Beasley, I think it is. I think he is playing the nickel for Tommy Prasis because I wondered how come we were seeing him. So that's hurt us because there was a couple times that he got beat on coverage. And then I can't remember that. I remember the number, but I remember the name, number 29, where he stopped. He had the guy covered and he stops. And, the touchdown, you just just if you just keep running, maybe he still catches it. But I kind of nitpicking now, but at the end of the
he'll look
game,
at that film and be disappointed for sure.
Yes, for sure. I noticed that Jay Hill moved. He switched around, and I believe on that last play where Evan Johnson Schmev was covering, that he had put someone else in there instead of Beasley to do the nickel corner. So kudos to Jay Hill for switching it up.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, boys. We hit overtime, right? How are we feeling? Are we thinking we're going to win this game? Or are we still like, this isn't it? We're going to lose? Like, how are we feeling the second time hit?
I was actually feeling pretty good for this reason. We had just scored 10 straight points and we had gone a 3 and out. So at that point, I'm going, we had the momentum going into overtime. I wasn't like we had sealed the deal. That's not how I was feeling, but I felt because we had the momentum, because that 80% of the fans left in the stands were BYU fans, that was huge for us going into overtime.
No, yeah. Well, this is going to sound shocking coming from me, to be honest. And I didn't say as much because I didn't want to jinx anything in the text group. But when we went into overtime, my whole mindset was we're going to figure out a way to win this game. I can't wait to see what play we win the game on. Like that's how I felt. I just felt like we're taking this game into overtime, even going into double overtime. I was just thinking, I can't wait to see that play that I'm going to watch back that wins this game for us. I just felt like they were going to win the game, and I don't usually feel that way. Right. I'm usually the one that's like, we get to a 3rd and 8, and I'm like, the game's over. So I was pretty confident for whatever reason that they were going to get it done, and maybe that's what it was, 10 straight points, to tie it up. And I'll be the first to say I was wondering what the hell we're doing, wasting 8 minutes of the clock when we've got to score twice. Yeah. And hats off to Aaron Roderick, and the offense as a whole. They executed the best they have all season in those 2 drives to score 2 touchdowns.
Yep.
The field goal and the touchdown to get it into overtime there.
No, for sure.
I will say my thing is, so I was texting you guys on the drive when after Parker ran it back, I'm like, okay, sweet. We're going to go score. We should go for 2 immediately, not even try to go into overtime. Like that was my thing. And this kind of goes into what Houston's touched on the past couple of weeks. We going into the next games have to be better in the red zone. People are going to call it being bailed out. And to an extent, they're correct, where there were some plays and calls and penalties that Arizona committed that gave us an extra life. And we just need to be better at scoring when we pass the 20-yard line on our, going in. I've not seen that yet. And it does worry me because with how long it took and how many plays it took for us to finally get in that end zone, I quickly switched my tune and I'm like, going to overtime and let's let the defense and special teams handle this because our offense can't get across the freaking touchdown line.
Yeah. Well, and the thing I will say is, there's a lot to unpack for this game. So I'm going to bring in something I heard from Hans Olsen. I don't know if you guys have heard this soundbite. He was talking about the people criticizing Roderick for taking too much time on the last couple drives. Just criticizing him in general. And I'm one of those because I wonder why we don't run with LJ Martin more in the red zone and in the scoring zone. Why don't we line up in bigger packages and hand it to LJ Martin? Just seems like we abandon that. Now, I don't know what's going on with defensively, if they're just loading the box more, and so we've got to change our game plan. Regardless, Hans Olsen went on the record, said, basically to me and all the A-Rod haters, I played 20 years of football. I played it in the professional for however long. I've played pro football. I've been around football for 20 plus years. He said, I know 1/10 about football compared to Jay Hill and Aaron Roderick. He said, I know nothing about football compared to those 2 guys. So everybody who's out there armchair quarterbacking and whatever and this and that, you don't know ball is basically what Hans Olsen is saying. So
I heard that.
I'm going to take that. I'm going to wear that one on the chin. I've been a big critic of A-Rod over the years, especially in this game. It just makes me baffled sometimes, our play calling. Having said that, he found something in the quarterback run, and whether we like it or not, 25 carries to Bear Bachmeier, and homeboy won us the game.
Yeah.
Guy's a stud, dude. He's a winner. He's a winner.
No, and to go back to the taking that long, the other perspective is you've got to, and again, I know I don't even want to use this word, but I'm going to. He is a true freshman quarterback. So A-Rod's thought process, according to, I think Hans Olsen also mentioned this, it's slow it down, methodical, just be calm, and just march the ball down the field, which we did. And so I think, obviously it worked out. So we can sit here and second guess all we want, but we won the game, and what they did worked. And they put all the confidence in the defense. And guess what? The defense came out 3 and out. And we got the ball back. Parker Kingston is a stud, runs the ball back, got tackled by the freaking punter. Those are his words.
Yeah. And I'll say this. Well, I'm throwing people on blast. This week, all week. Joe Wheat can go sit down with his freaking Twitter account, because this was a 3-phase win. And he said on Twitter, and I quote, "This is a 3-phase loss halfway through the fourth quarter." So speaking of the sequence at the end of the game, to score, to go 3 and out, to run the punt back into field goal range again, and to score a touchdown, this is a 3-phase win, Joe Wheat.
Yeah.
And this is coming from a pessimist. Sit down with your Twitter account.
To Gordon's point, I do want to point this out, because I can't agree more with the way Aaron Roderick handled Bear in that final drive. Because in the first, I think it was towards the first half, the end of the first half, when we're trying to score and we are going fast, it's when Bear threw a pick. It's because he doesn't have time to think and to analyze, and he's under pressure and trying to make quick decisions, and he threw a pick. Granted, the pick landed in the player's belt buckle the second he turned around, and it was kind of lucky on that end. But that's my point, though, is he makes mistakes when he's rushed, and I think that they knew their quarterback and they handled it extremely well.
Yeah, and to your point there, the snap that went over his head and then he grabbed and he took off running, he could have ran, because everybody started running backwards, the defense. But in his mind, everything was sped up. And so he just threw the ball. He could have kept it and probably run for 5 or 10 yards or thrown it out of bounds. Right. So, it was a learning experience. But the guy's a stud. He's a winner.
No, and that's the thing. Those two, and I'll just say the fumble to the interception is the one play this season that he looked like a freshman. Yeah. One play.
Yeah, that was it.
And when you look back at the tape, when he threw it to Carson, he was open. Yeah. He did not see the safety running across the field. So
it was just aired out a little bit.
Yeah. So first time he's made any mistake like that all season. The rest of the season he's looked like a poised quarterback. He's done well. So I'm not concerned about that, because the rest of the game is history. He put the team on his back literally and carried them into the end zone. Yeah. To win the game and in overtime.
Well, crazy. And Arizona had not given up a passing touchdown all year. So we get the first passing touchdown. They've got a pretty good pass defense. So that's the other thing that he threw a couple.
They had Chase on lock.
Yeah, they had some good DBs.
And if I'm not mistaken, they were second in pass efficiency defense. I believe they went up to first after that game, even with the passing touchdown.
So
we rushed for 300 yards almost. So they did well passing defense wise. So anyway, so the last thing I'll say on this, because I didn't want to move on to Utah. I'm happy with the win, and from this point forward, with the teams on our schedule, a 2-point win, a 1-point win, I don't care. Win's a win, and I don't have to look farther than Ole Miss and Washington State and Penn State and these other teams, like Washington State 21-24 to the number 4 team in the country. Washington State's irrelevant, so I just think a win's a win. And if we go out and the thing that we're doing last year and that we've done this year is good teams, championship teams, find ways to win no matter what. And that's what we talked about this all last year, I think. Every single week we talked about this. The championship teams find a way to win. And that's what they did. So, I'm excited moving forward. So having said that, it's freaking hate week, rivalry week. Kudos to Max Hall. Always bring this up. I totally agree. Hate Utah, hate their fans, hate their program. Just to throw some more fuel on the fire to get this started, I'll let you guys have at it here. Kyle Whittingham, when asked about Bear Bachmeier, we're not really worried about what our opponent is doing. We're going to worry about us this week. We don't really care what our opponent is doing. Wouldn't even say the words BYU. What our opponent is doing. Kalani Sitake, when asked about Devin Dampier, went on a minute and a half on his stat line and what he likes out of him and how he's a good player. So I'll leave it at that and let you gentlemen eat at it.
Well, we are not the same. That's all I got to say. We are not the same.
I mean, I'm kind of on the other side. I love it. If I'm in Kyle Whittingham's shoes, that's fuel to the fire for his team. They're coming for revenge from last year. They hate us just as much as we hate them. It's part of the rivalry, man. Urban Meyer was throwing our freaking logo in the urinals back in the day. Like that's the beauty of this rivalry. I love it. I think it's great. I wish that we showed a little bit more of that, but at the same time, to Gordon's point, I don't want to be them. And I respect Kalani's approach. So it is what it is, in my opinion, when it comes to that. But with that said, I can't stand Utah. I can't stand them.
No, I agree with that. I mean, it's one of those. I'm not going to stoop to their level. I'm okay with a little banner and different stuff, but they take it too far. And that's not all of them. There's all the Utah fans are like that. But man, the stuff you see thrown out on social media, I'm just like going, seriously. I mean, and obviously it's already started, but yeah. I mean, it would be insufferable if we don't win this game. I do not want to hear the Utah fans if we don't beat them on Saturday. They will just be insufferable.
I'm putting myself out on the line here. This is going to be clipped. I'm putting the risk out that if we lose, this is going to be thrown out and clipped, and that's it's going to be shared in my friend group, and that's fine. But Houston and I have talked about this probably nonstop till we're blue in the face. I think Utah is freaking overrated. Do I think they're good? Yes. But there's this imaginary AP stat that gave them an early leg up in the AP polls in the ranking system to the point where they beat a terrible team, and now they're in the top 25. Because of this imaginary metric, Utah has been held to this standard that they are one of the dominant teams in the Big 12. There is no difference. I would actually argue BYU is a little bit a step above in their schedule on the teams that they have played so far outside of the loss to Texas Tech for Utah. And I will not give Utah a leg up for losing to a team. So if you compare them apples to apples, you got Stanford, UCLA, which I think Stanford's better. You got an FCS team, which both handled very well. You got West Virginia that both beat. Colorado is better than an Arizona State with no quarterback. And everybody is saying that Utah is the most dominant team, and they're freaking favored in this game.
Yes, they are.
Their quarterback is overrated. Their team is overrated, and I'm ready for BYU to put them in their place, and it's going to happen.
I love it. I love it. I will say this. I think they're that much better than you're giving them credit for, and because the games they have won, they have flat out dominated. I will say that. Mm-hmm. Their defense looks just as good as it did last year. But you list off those opponents, and who on any of those have a passing defense whatsoever. Texas Tech is the first one that comes to mind. Only allowed 14 points against Utah. I think Devin Dampier's an okay quarterback, but he showed some things against Arizona State that make me wonder if we don't give some pressure and some different looks on him, that he doesn't make some mistakes, throw some interceptions. Hopefully Jack will be back. Isaiah will be back. We have our nickel guys back. Those three positions right there will be the key, because we've got two of the best linebackers in the country, and I think they can handle any mobile quarterback.
Yeah. And I think that's the key to the game for us against Dampier is don't let him be a running quarterback. Make him scramble around and throw on the run. And he's, from what I've seen and heard, when he's scrambling and throwing on the run, he makes mistakes. So I think that's the key for us. Interesting, when I was looking at their stats, he is their leading rusher. He is Utah's leading rusher with 376 yards. He's the leading rusher for Utah, which is just surprised me.
Yeah, so having said that, we've got a really good rush defense as well. I mean, the defense is good overall, but you put them into passing situations, we've got the number 8 pass efficiency defense in the country as well. So I just think we match up well defensively. Now, the question will be, this is going to be a low-scoring game, I think. I don't see how it goes any other way. and it's probably going to be very much like Arizona. Can we make the crucial scores late in the game when we need to win the game, whether that's a touchdown or a field goal, or hold them off, if it's a close game. It's going to be close. It's Utah, But yeah, I think in every statistical category you look down, I think we have the advantage. And we'll get to this when we get to our pick'ems, but I don't know what's going on in Vegas if there's too much betting going on at this point that people cannot watch college football anymore. But like some of these lines are insane. If I would have looked back at the picks we've made and we can bet in Idaho, I'd have made a fortune this season already through 6 games just betting against the spread.
Yes.
Because some of these, anyway, I think BYU should be favored in this game. It's at home at Provo. We've got Big Noon Kickoff coming, by the way. Shout out to Fox because College Game Day is now the SEC network, apparently.
Yep.
So, yeah, outside of BYU Utah, you got USC Notre Dame going on as well. Who cares about Ole Miss Georgia?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, I think the key to the game, in my opinion, for each team is going to be force the quarterback to make throws. That's going to be their plan against Bear. They're going to try to stop LJ and not allow a running game, and they're going to try to force Bear to make some plays. And I think on the flip side to what you guys said already, our game plan's got to be to stop their run game as well because they have a pretty powerful back, and not let Devin Dampier run the ball either and force him to make throws. And I think if we can force him to make throws, we're going to see 2 or 3 interceptions, in my opinion, this game.
Shout out to LJ Martin, who was the Big 12 Player of the Week, offensive player.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
He has almost 700 yards of rushing, 660-something at this point, which, comparison, when I go back to Devin Dampier being the leading rusher for Utah at 300 and something, that tells me they don't have a running back.
Yeah.
Because if he's their leading rusher with 300 and something yards, that doesn't speak highly of the run game other than he's doing a lot of scrambling and running and quarterback runs. So
yeah,
that's.
I think our defense matches up good against them. That's the thing that I think will be the difference. I actually think we have a really good run defense. And we struggled against West Virginia. That was a weird game. They ran the quarterback 47 times or something.
Yeah.
But when we finally guys started staying in their lane and holding their assignments and filling their gaps, we shut them down. We shut them down for the whole game, but it seemed like early on we were just letting a lot of big plays. So I think as long as the defense executes, they stay in their gaps, they stay on their assignments, especially the 2 linebackers. If they're going to be in the spy, they got to stay home. And I think if we do that, we, like Jay said, we create some turnovers, we get the ball, we score. Even if we can go up 10 early, we're going to control the clock, we're going to run the ball. I think that's the recipe for success.
Yeah.
Man,
Devin Dampier is going to witness and experience his first away game that is actually going to affect him as well. The 12th man at Lavelle Edwards Stadium is going to be a factor in this game, 1,000%.
Oh, yeah, correct. He has not played. The other thing that I don't know if this favors well or not for him is I saw him in the press conference when asked about the rivalry game, and he said, yeah, they've told me, I know, I know what's up. I don't think he does, to be frank.
No.
He played at New Mexico for a couple of years. The same team. Played at UNLV for a couple of years, and you do not know what this is like. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you have come up and seen it, grown up with it, played in it for a couple of years, even been on the sideline for a couple of years, you do not know what you're in for.
Yep.
So I think we have that going in our favor.
Yeah.
Same could be said for Bear.
Yeah.
But he's got the home field. That's the catch. In my opinion.
Yes.
No, there's been a couple of BYU players that they've asked about the rivalry. Same kind of question, and I can't remember who it was specifically that they asked, and they said, well, yeah, last year when it was the first one, it would have been AJ. And he was like, yeah, they told me about it, but then he said, then I actually played in it. He says, well, yeah, now that I played in it, I get a bigger understanding and for what it is. So to your point, Houston, I think that's a good, valid point with Dampier. And those guys are so coy anyway. They're going to make some flippant comment about it anyway. So that's what Utah does.
So excited, man. And Gordon's going to be there, right?
I believe I will be there. Yes.
I just bought my tickets today. I will be there. I'm freaking stoked.
Yes.
It's going to be. I have high expectations with the crowd volume and everything in this game.
It should be rocking.
It's going to be wild.
Yeah, it'll be. I mean, so real quick, I'll say this on the crowd, and then we'll move on maybe to our next thing. But Kalani mentioned it, that the energy from the team, the fans, in the West Virginia game was lackluster, and we could feel that.
Mm-hmm.
It just didn't seem like, at least watching it at home, talking to my dad about being there, it didn't seem like the energy was there. So I think that'll be a point of emphasis in this game. The crowd's going to be ready to go with big noon kickoff. It's going to be crazy. So I just hope we beat Utah.
Gosh, I hope we beat Utah. Oh, man.
Anyway,
gotta love the Holy War.
It'll be good. It'll be exciting. Hopefully we're sitting here this time next week reminiscing on how we made them look terrible. Anyway.
Yeah, celebrating being 7-0.
Yes. Sorry. One more thing before we move on to Pick'ems. Number 15 in the country. For some reason, I feel like it feels low, but then I look at the top 25 and I go, 15's pretty high.
Yeah, 15's good.
15's pretty high. So we're feeling really good about that.
We're 3 away from like college football playoff recognition. We are
correct.
Like you hit the top 12 and you're being considered for the college football playoff. And so to be where we're at right now, I think is absolutely perfect for us, especially if we go in to win this game. If we go in and beat Utah, another top 25 team, we're going to be on the cusp, if not in the top 12 next week.
Well, especially with how much the AP poll voters love Utah.
Oh, yeah.
So that should give us some jump in there. I think if we can move, I don't want to look too far ahead, but if we can get through Utah, outside of Texas Tech, I don't see another team on the schedule that could beat us, that could just be better. Texas Tech, I mean, I think Texas Tech could be one. I mean, I texted Jace this over the weekend. They might be the best team in the country.
They're good.
They really might be.
Yeah, they're a national championship quality team. And what's unfortunate about any team as of right now, but sorry, I hate to stay on this game.
No, let's go.
The severity of this game actually is a lot higher than people think. So Utah in particular, the rest of their schedule after BYU isn't that hard. So this is the game for Utah if they want to make it to Arlington at the end of the year. If they win this game, there's a decent chance they get to Arlington. If we win this game, we still have a gauntlet, but there's still a decent chance to get to Arlington. But in both scenarios, the likelihood of a rematch against Texas Tech in Arlington is super, super, super high for Utah and for BYU, which is crazy.
Yep. At this point, it's a 3-man race, in my opinion. It's Texas Tech, BYU, and Utah. Like you just said, the outcome of this game between BYU and Utah will put the second-place team right there, barring anything else for the rest of the season from Utah, losing a game they shouldn't or anything like that. It's between those 3.
And don't sleep on Cincy. We got to watch them and see how they do.
Yeah,
but Cincy could be good and be a sleeper to watch out for.
No, for sure.
Yeah. Oh, exciting stuff, guys! Exciting stuff. All right. Well, with that, let's go head over into our pick'ems. All right. Well, we got a good Big 12 slate this week. Jace, just real quick, give us a score update, and then we'll send it to you, Dad, straight into our games.
Yeah, shout out to the Instagram people. We had probably the most turnout on our pick'ems this week that we've ever had. So awesome. I'm not going to go into each individual game. I will give just kind of a rough idea. But Arizona State versus Utah, the majority of our fans did pick Arizona State. Kudos to Houston for selling his soul to the devil and picking that one and going with Utah and getting a point. Everyone, it was 100%, chose Tech over Kansas, which they definitely handled business. It was pretty split between Iowa State and Colorado, and kudos to Gordon for picking Colorado on that one.
That was a good
Colorado looked good. They played very well. Indiana and Oregon was pretty split. Hoosiers handled business. That was a great game to watch.
Yep.
As far as the underdogs go, Gordon with a great pick. Kansas State handled business against TCU, which was surprising. The question is Kansas State back? They're definitely not a top-tier team, but definitely coming back. My pick ended up being good as well. Texas A&M handled business over Florida and did cover and score more than 9 or beat them by more than 9.5. And Houston fell short with his Missouri pick over Alabama. That was a very close game.
That was a close game.
If I would have picked him against the spread, I would have got it. I just want to say that. But I wanted the win. I needed the 2 points, and man, were they close.
Yeah, they were. But great week. Thanks everybody for participating. That was a fun one. Wild week of college football. There was a lot of upsets.
Correct. So what's the score real quick to tally?
Oh yeah, so running total after everything. So Gordon and Houston each got 3 points this week, and I only had 2. So that makes our total at Jace 26, Gordon 24, and Houston 23.
Sweet. Tighten the gap.
Neck and neck.
Yeah, it's getting close. So.
All right, Dad. Here's the first game.
All right, here we go. So our Big 12 this week. Our first game is Arizona at Houston. I think this is going to be a really good game. I like this one. Houston, I think, is a pretty good team. I think Arizona, and maybe it's just because we played them and they played pretty good. I think Arizona's a good team. Even though it's at Houston, I'm going with Arizona. I think Arizona's defense is actually pretty legit. Houston's got a pretty good defense too, but I just like Arizona in this one. I think they get the victory. So.
Yeah, I'm with you here. I think coming off the double overtime loss, that's going to sting quite a bit. They've got a lot to prove. Houston struggled really bad against Texas Tech's defense. I think Arizona's pass defense is very similar. So for those reasons, I'm taking the Wildcats.
Yeah, the flow is going to be the same. I think Arizona's defense is severely underrated and not getting enough national recognition. I think they're legit, and they're very, very good. And so Arizona's defense is going to win this game for them.
All right, moving on. We got Baylor at TCU. Right now I'm selling TCU. TCU came out and there was a lot of love going on there, and they looked okay. That's why I was pretty certain with my pick last week with K-State going to beat them, and K-State put a thumping on them. So I'm going with Baylor against this one. I think Baylor's a good team. TCU, I don't feel good about them right now. I mean, maybe they'll prove me wrong, but they seem to be going the wrong direction.
Yeah. No, I agree with all of that for the same reasons. I'm going to go with Baylor as well. I just think they've got a more solid team overall. A little bit of a rivalry there, but I think Baylor will take care of business.
Yeah, Houston took the words out of my mouth. I think this one's a toss-up because of the rivalry, and so it's anyone's game. I literally a coin flip for me, so I'm going with TCU.
All right.
Nice. Like it.
Texas Tech, who's number 7 right now at Arizona State. Until Texas Tech proves differently, I just think, how can you pick against them? Arizona State got drubbed by Utah. I know their starting quarterback was out, and it was a last-minute thing, but even with their starting quarterback, I think it would have been a lot closer. But Texas Tech is legit, so I got to go with Tech.
Yeah, I agree. They're rolling. And Arizona State, I said this going into the Utah game, their offense, even with Sam Leavitt, is not that great. And you're going up against the best defense in the country almost. So yeah. I think the Red Raiders win big in this one.
So I disagree with the win big. I think this is going to be one of those surprising games in college football where you're expecting, a big blowout, but Arizona State, for whatever reason, matches up with Tech a little bit better, especially with Sam Leavitt being back. Tech is going to win. I think they still win by multiple touchdowns, but it won't be as big of a blowout as people might think.
I like it.
All right. Let's go to the top 25. So we got a top 10 matchup this week. We've got number 5 Ole Miss at number 9 Georgia. And this one is an interesting one. You talk about the lines in Vegas. You look at the lines on this. I believe that Ole Miss rankings are what they are. Who knows? They're at 5 and 9. They got Georgia, I think, is favored in this game by 6.5 points or something like that. However, I'm going to go with Ole Miss on this one. I think Ole Miss gets it done. Georgia's a good team. Ole Miss has surprised me this year. They've played some pretty solid ball. Although last week they were lucky to get by Washington State. So,
and that right there is the reason why I'm going to take Georgia. I think Georgia Auburn last week, maybe Georgia didn't look as good. That's a pretty big rivalry game, so that's kind of tough to tell. Ole Miss is kind of like Penn State in the SEC. They crumble when it comes to the big games a little bit. So I think Georgia is here. So.
Kind of like what we alluded to. I'm upset and pissed off that the SEC that College Game Day is SEC Network, and so I'm pissed that this is getting as much love as it is. I get it's a top 10 matchup, but I'm going with Ole Miss just because my boy Jackson Dart's helping me in fantasy, and that's his team. So we're going with Ole Miss.
Yeah, that might be a point for Houston there. But we'll see what happens on that one. Unfortunately, Ole Miss does get the tight collar a lot of times in the big game. All right, underdogs. So when I originally picked my underdog, when the line came out, this is Penn State at Iowa. Penn State was actually a 10.5-point favorite. Well, coaching change there. Coach gets fired. Penn State is now a 2.5-point dog. But I'm going to go with Iowa State on this one. I just think Penn State's season. Iowa. Sorry, not Iowa State. Yeah, it's Iowa. I'm going to go with Iowa on this one. I think Penn State, with all the turmoil, you just fire your coach. They've lost 2 in a row. They haven't looked good in the losses. Their starting quarterback just went out. His ankle. He's done for the year. I think Iowa just handles them. Even though Iowa's a 2.5-point favorite, they will win and they will cover that spread. It will be more than a 3-point game.
Yeah, I like that pick there. Crazy Penn State is, I don't even know what to say there. I mean, we know they've crumbled in the big games, but my gosh, UCLA. I mean, who knows? UCLA, there's a world where UCLA plays for the Big Ten championship. They have only one loss in conference, so
it's crazy.
I don't know. Crazy. Maybe this change at UCLA, and so maybe Penn State's coaching change. All of a sudden, they have a tight ends coach that's the greatest offensive coordinator in the world. Like what's his name?
Neuheisel, whatever.
Yeah, down there at UCLA. Anyway, I like the pick. Iowa just beat Wisconsin, I think, like 40-0 or something.
Yeah, they
so
off.
Defense is going to shut down Penn State. Yeah. So I'm going to take one that's another crazy line here. Duke is favored against number 12 Georgia Tech this week. So yeah, I have no clue what that's about. I'm going to take Georgia Tech to win that one. I think they win by, well, they're 2.5 underdogs, but I think they win by 20. Not really sure on this one. I think that's
I saw that one. That's a good pick. My pick is Boise State versus UNLV. Boise State is an 11.5-point favorite in this game. UNLV is undefeated. And if we're going to use the same metric that Utah uses to be the best team in the country, UNLV beat UCLA this year. And so because of that, you have the UNLV wins over UCLA and they're undefeated. I'm surprised UNLV is not a top 5 team in the country at this point because of that.
Yeah, seriously.
And so not only will UNLV cover this 11.5-point spread, UNLV will beat Boise State and move to 7-0.
Yeah, UNLV's looked good this year, just like they did last year. I think Boise State is average Mountain West team at best. I think they're sitting 3rd, maybe 4th right now. Mm-hmm. I like that pick a lot. So be good.
Going for 2 points there, man. That would kind of separate things.
It's true. That's why I had to take the win. I think of Georgia Tech on the win there as well. I got to keep pace. So that'll be good to see. Well, good pick'ems. So I think with that, we're gonna head straight over to the snake draft.
Okay.
So we'll let Jace give us a little recap, and then I'll say this before we go into that. This week we are going to do top 3 G6 teams. Those are teams that are not in the power conference of the ACC, SEC, Big 10, Big 12. So teams outside of those conferences that are the best out of the G6. So.
Yep. Or that should be eventual close to, P4 teams. Yep. I love that. So last week it was it the coaches that we did last week? It's been long enough.
Yep, it was coaches.
So yeah, we did the top 3 coaches of all time, or not of all time, but current coaches. Houston dominated, absolutely dominated, with an 86% win, and I came in second with a 14%. So yeah, Houston's on an absolute heater with, what is that, 3 weeks in a row?
3 in a row, yeah. 3 in a row.
Crazy win. So Houston gets to choose first, or decide where he wants to go, and then I will go second, and so that makes Gordon third.
Yeah, I'm tossed up between taking the 1 spot or the 3 spot here. I think there's a clear 1 and 2. I don't know if I want to lose that. So I think I may go one. I'm going to go one.
I have to go 2 because I don't want to lose it either. Sorry, G.
Okay, well, having said that, I think there's a clear number 1 and number 2 here. Whichever one I don't take, I'm sure Jace will take. I'm going to go with South Florida as my number 1 pick. They've already proven they can handle teams in the SEC. They're looking great this year. Competed well against the other Power 4 teams they've played. So, yeah, give me the Bulls, South Florida, number 1.
It's a good one. Outside of this year, I think Boise State, as much as I hate them, is my pick. They've got 2 decades of winning seasons. As much as I hate their recipe for success and how much it drives me insane that it gets them the national recognition that it does, which is to play nobody and then expect to be in the top, conversations, but somehow they pull out a miraculous win every once in a while. But you got to give them credit where credit's due. They've got 2 decades of 10+ win seasons under their belt, and so they're dominant. I think they've dominated the G6 for a while.
Interesting. Not the team I thought you would take. I like it though.
Well, this was a tough one for me when we started throwing these out there, because I'm like going, there's been so much conference realignment and things have jumped around. I'm like going, who is not a power team that I really feel would be in there? So since I get 2 being third, I'm taking I'm going to go with San Diego State.
Okay. Wow. I do have them on the list.
I do as well. Not on the top, but that was they're on the list.
I'm struggling, to find teams that I'm sitting there going, man, I think they ought to be a power team. I don't know that San Diego State is, but if I'm going through all the other teams, they have a pretty good overall sports program.
And they were in the discussion for the Big 12 during expansion. So
yeah. So that was my thought process. Teams that have been in discussion for expansion, obviously there's some there. The other team that keeps coming up all the time, but they couldn't buy their way in, Memphis Tigers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's who I thought Jace would take number 1.
I was going to take it number 2 if Gordon didn't pick that.
Yeah,
it's a good pick.
They're right there on the cusp.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, they're the odds-on favorite right now to be the G6 team in the playoffs. So
yeah,
good one. I'm going to go with Tulane. They're they're an AAC powerhouse. I believe it was in 2022 that they beat USC in the Cotton Bowl. So showing that they can compete as well. And so they've just got, they're a pick and powerhouse team in the G6.
Yeah, no, it's a good pick. I mean, those are my top 3 right there. UCF or USF, Memphis, Tulane, I think are the 3 best ones.
Yep.
I'm going to go with number 2. I'm going to go with Liberty. I think they would be maybe, I don't know. I think they would compete. I'm not saying that they would dominate, but we're looking at like teams like Oklahoma State and Rutgers and Northwestern. I think Liberty can compete with any of those teams. And they've done pretty well over the years as well. So give me Liberty. And then for my last one, I'm going to take UNLV. I think, which is crazy to say. Historically, they've been garbage. In fact,
last couple seasons, they've been killers.
They're on the up. But so historically they've been terrible. But I think they've shown the last couple of years that they've turned it around. They can compete. So
good one. I'm going to go with Appalachian State. I think since joining the FBS, I got the stats here. They have 7 bowls, 4 conference titles, and they've kind of established themselves as the giant killers with their identity, with some serious upsets against some Power 4 teams. And the culture over there is actually freaking sweet. And so when you've got a fan base, and not to get too technical with this, but you got consistent income coming in, you got players that want to play for that program, they establish an identity. I think they're on the up, and you're going to see Appalachian State make some moves in the near future.
I like it. I think it's a great pick. Didn't have them on my list, but that's a good pick.
Yeah, well, I think I'm kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel here for number 3.
There's a couple of good ones still left over.
San Diego State, Memphis are good, though. Those are 2
good. That's solid.
I'm going to go out, and this one is kind of one that's kind of been on my mind, but I'm going to go Western Kentucky.
Okay.
I mean, they're the good old Hilltoppers. I mean, they've had some big wins. I don't know what their basketball program is. When you start talking going to power, I mean, we're focused on football here, but I think a lot of times they're looking at their overall programs. So I don't know if they're like with any of the other ones, but they've been very competitive in the football world and have gone to some good bowl games. And so there you go, Western Kentucky.
I like it. Quick little shout out to, I think I had Coastal on there potentially, and actually Navy I have on there. I think they could compete.
Fascinating. I had Air Force on mine, so I had one of the ranks as well. I also had UTSA. They're up there as well. Yep. Yeah. So in that,
I mean, I may let my bias blind me. I think Boise State's a good pick. I mean, they played in the playoff last year. They played in multiple goals. I just hate them, and I just know that they aren't as good as everyone thinks they are. But people are going to look at it and go, oh, Boise State, of course. Yeah. Boise State.
Yep. Yeah, it's tough. I'm with you. I can't stand them. I hate giving them any credit because my hatred for them is just as bad as Utah sometimes. But yeah, I felt like I had to give credit where credit was due.
That's a good pick. Well, run us back the list real quick, Jace.
So Houston has USF, Liberty, and UNLV. Solid 3 there. I've got Boise State, Tulane, and Appalachian State. And then Gordon has San Diego State, Memphis, and Western Kentucky.
I think we both have 2 solid teams on each of them that just stand out that could be in the Power 4. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I think it's a good pick. I like that one. So,
well, good pod, boys. Appreciate you. I'm glad we made it happen this week for Rivalry Week.
Heck yeah.
Holy War.
Not going to be able to sleep till Saturday.
Yeah. Well, thank goodness it's already Monday. We got Coordinator's Corner. We got Kalani's show. We got The Cut. We got the pod coming out Wednesday.
Cut's probably out right now as we speak.
Cut's out tonight.
Watch that. Yeah, I'm going to go watch that when we're done.
Yes, sir. So, anyway, well, great pod. Thanks, fellas. Go Cougs this week.
Go Cougs.
Beat Utah.
Beat the Utes. Go Cougs.